Today we're going to talk about measurement systems. So we have the metric system and the imperial system. So the metric system is the more common system, and it is also the easier conversion system. So we have our units. Whatever your base unit is, you can be talking about meters, liters, grams. Excuse me, the list will continue on. Whatever we are talking about, you're putting a prefix in front of that. So whether that's kilo, hecto, deca, deci, centa, milla, those are going in front of your base unit. So whatever's in front of there and needing to convert will depend how much you are going to multiply or divide by. So going to the left, so going this way, your units are getting bigger, so that means that you're going to end up with a smaller number. You're dividing by 10 each hop this way. If we're going to the right, we're going to our smaller units, meaning that number will get bigger, and we're going to be multiplying by 10 for each one we go over. Okay, and when we're talking multiplying or dividing by 10, the way we can do that is just moving the decimal place. So each time you move one of these units over, that's how many decimal places you are going to move. Okay, so we want to convert the following. We have 125 grams, and we want to make that into milligrams. So grams is a base unit. Milligram is the one over here. We are going 1, 2, 3 over. So that means we're going to move our decimal point 3 over. Starting with 125, our decimal is actually directly after the 5. And like we said, we're going to move our decimal 1, 2, 3 over. 1, 2, 3. The new decimal is going to go here. So that makes it 125,000 milligrams. Okay, the next one, 10 liters to milliliters. Liters is a base unit, again going to milla, so that's going over 1, 2, 3. Starting with 10. And moving the decimal over, 1, 2, 3. That brings us to 10,000 milliliters. Next question, 1.42 meters to centimeters. Meters is a base unit. There's no prefix in front of there. We're moving to centimeters. So that's going over 1, 2, going over 2 decimals. 1, 2. That gives us 142 centimeters. Okay, going from 10.5 kilometers to meters, going from the K to our base unit, going over 1, 2, 3. Moving that decimal, 1, 2, 3, gives us 10,500 meters. Okay, going from 1,895 grams to kilograms. So grams is our base unit, going to kilograms. So we are moving 1, 2, 3 to the left, and that means we're moving our decimal to the left. So our decimal is starting after the 5. We're moving it to the left, 1, 2, 3, and that gives us 1.895 kilograms. Last example here, we're going from milliliters to liters. Milliliters is on the end here, going to our base unit of liters. That's going 1, 2, 3 to the left. Moving our decimal is the 135, the decimal's on the end, moving it 1, 2, 3, gives us 0.135 liters. Okay, so that's converting using the metric system. So just moving that decimal place to the right or to the left accordingly. Now talking about the imperial system, this one we actually need to use conversion charts. There's not a simple way to go or to move your decimal. Imperial is used in the States, and we use it for certain things in Canada as well. So the first one, convert each of the following. So the first one, 12 feet to inches. We need to look for our feet and inches in the chart. That's the first one here. So 1 foot equals 12 inches. If we were to set up a ratio, 1 foot equals 12 inches, and we want to go to 12 feet. So we want to find out how many inches that is. So if you were setting up your ratio, you need the ones that match. So 1 foot equals 12 inches. Make sure those are both on the top. And then the one you're given, the 12 feet, is going to match up with what you need to find your x. Okay, so in order to solve this, then we would cross multiply. So going across the equal sign, we're going to do 1 times x, give us x, and 12 times 12. So this gives us 144 inches. Okay, so the more simple way to approach this is if you're going from your units on the left to your units on the right, you're multiplying. And if you're going from the units on the right to the units on the left, then you'll be dividing. So here we were going from feet to inches, which means multiplying, and that's where we got our 12 times 12. Okay, setting up the next one, 10 ounces, 2 pounds. So we have 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. So 1 pound equals 16 ounces. We want to know how many pounds, that's x, and we're given that there's 10 ounces. So again, you can cross multiply here. 1 times 10 and 16 times x. 16x equals 1 times 10 is 10. And to get x by itself, you want to bring the multiply by 16 to the other side. You'll be dividing. Like we said, With our units, if you're going from the right to the left, you're going to divide. So we have 10 divided by 16. We get 0.625 pounds. Okay, next question, 2.5 miles to yards. We see 1 mile is 1,760 yards. So we're going from miles to yards, so we're going from the left side to the right side, which means that we're going to multiply. But again, I'll set up the ratio. So we have 1 mile is equal to 1,760 yards. And for 2.5 miles, we want to know how many yards. Cross multiplying is x equals 2.5 times 1,760. Get 4,400 yards. Okay, the next one, we are going from quarts to gallons. So 4 quarts are in 1 gallon. Because we're going from right to left, we're going to be dividing. So we'll have 16 divided by 4, and that gives us 4 gallons. Next question, we want to go from quarts to pints. 1 quart is equal to 2 pints. Going from left to right, we are multiplying. So we're going to have our 4 quarts times 2, because there's 2 pints per quart. And that gives us 8 pints. Okay. Last one here. Going from 2 gallons to fluid ounces. So we notice if we're looking at the conversion chart, we can't go directly from gallons to fluid ounces. So we have to take a few steps here. We're going to go from gallons to quarts, quarts to pints, and then finally pints to fluid ounces. What we notice is every conversion that we do, we are always going left to right, so we are multiplying every time we convert. So to go from gallons to quarts, it's going to be 2 gallons times 4. That gives us 8 quarts. Then going quarts to pints, we then need to multiply by 2. And that gives us 16 pints. And for 1 pint, there are 16 fluid ounces. So if we have 16 pints, we multiply that by 16. And we get 256 fluid ounces. The last piece is putting our imperial and metric systems together. So again, we're going to need a conversion chart here. And as we see, like the previous slide, if you're moving from the left to the right side, we're multiplying, and moving from the right to the left side, we are dividing. So looking at A, 10 inches to centimeters. So we're looking for the conversion from inches to centimeters. We have inches and centimeters here, so 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So us going from inches to centimeters, that means we are multiplying. So we have 10 times 2.54, and that gives us 25.4 centimeters. Okay, the next one, we're going from Fahrenheit to Celsius. This conversion looks a little bit different. We have a full formula to use for it. So looking at temperature, our temperature in Fahrenheit is equal to 1.8 times our temperature in Celsius plus 32. So using this formula, we're going to fill in what we know. We know our temperature in Fahrenheit is 16. So TF is 16, and that's equal to 1.8 times temperature in Celsius plus 32. To rearrange our equation, we need to use SAMDEB. We're going to be moving the adding or subtracting first. There is the adding of 32. If we bring that to the other side, it's going to be subtract. Oops. So 16 minus 32 equals 1.8 temperature in Celsius. So 16 minus 32 gives us a negative 16. And that's equal to 1.8 times temperature in Celsius. And to have the temperature in Celsius by itself, we need to move this 1.8 to the other side. Multiplying over here, when we bring it over, we will divide. So negative 16 divided by 1.8. And that's 8.9 degrees Celsius. Okay, or we can round it to 9 degrees. Last question here, 12 fluid ounces to milliliters. So looking at our chart, we have fluid ounces to milliliters right here. Moving from fluid ounces to milliliters, going left to right is multiplying. So we have our 12 fluid ounces times the conversion where there are 29.6 milliliters per fluid ounce. And we get 355.2 milliliters. Okay. So you've been shown a couple of different methods. The shortcut of just knowing you're multiplying and dividing. And also you can be setting up a ratio if you would like to do it that way. So you'll be completing the worksheet that I have handed out to you, and if you have any questions, please let me know.